Goedendag allemaal, ik ben Adanna James en ik kom uit Trinidad en Tobago, een land in de Antillen, en ik ben zo gelukkig om de prijs te ontvangen. I am thrilled, honored, and grateful that my work has received the prestigious Monsignor Arthur Janssen's Award for Theological Ethics. I wish to thank KU Leuven, the theological faculty, the staff, students, and the jury who met to consider this work. And in a special way, I owe a debt of gratitude to Professor Yves de Marcinier, my promoter, who truly mentored me during my 7-year journey from the master's to the doctorate, and whose support I believe was crucial to my fruitfulness. My research was motivated in large part by the experience of growing up with someone with disabilities and my desire to find a language within theology that would do justice to those wonderful but often inexplicable experiences. My research was also driven by a deep appreciation for my own Caribbean culture. I hadn't realized how much this had shaped a very unique way of understanding reality until I came to Leuven and lived among people from all over the world. These two desires met, fell in love, and gave birth to my doctoral study, Towards a Poetics of Disability Theology, from Paul Ricoeur to Edward Glissant and Jean Vanier. This research was really about a fundamental issue or problem of theological anthropology, the understanding of what it means to be human in the Christian tradition. My master's highlighted how very problematic, overly intellectual conceptions of humanity within our own tradition had actually resulted in excluding persons, particularly with profound intellectual disabilities. My doctorate attempted to seek out different anthropological constructs, as well as to find a theological method and language that would support those anthropologies and allow for persons with profound intellectual disabilities to be viewed and represented in a dignified way. A number of questions guided this research, the most crucial of which was, how far could the thinking of Caribbean poet and philosopher Edward Glissant serve disability theology as an adequate, more inclusive alternative to other more popular anthropological models? So, starting with Paul Ricoeur's understanding of selfhood or his narrative identity as an example of one of the popular models being used among disability theologians, I used a process of comparative analysis where I contrasted Ricoeur's thought against this French Caribbean scholar, Glissant, who I found possessed far more promise for appreciating the complexity of humanity. You see, I discovered in Edward Glissant an understanding of reality where individual identity was constantly deconstructed in favor of shared identities, where vulnerability was central to the formation of identity, and where identity could only be experienced as mystery. And the term he used for that was opacity. He saw opacity as a supremely protective measure that prevented anyone from claiming they fully understood or could analyze another. And the academic methodology he used to describe this reality was a term he called poetics. Poetics, as opposed to theory, avoided labels, models, structure, and rarely allowed for speaking positively about what others deemed abnormal, chaotic, or even disabled. I found this approach liberating and attempted to apply it to the actual experiences of disability using a test case analysis in my research. Finally, I thought of trying to find some meeting points between Glissant and the late and now unfortunately disgraced Jean Vanier, since Vanier was writing from the actual perspective of disability and Glissant was not. I felt it was important to try to ground Lisa in the actual world of disability, and who better to do that with than through Vanier? Obviously, the work was defended mere months before the unfortunate scandal broke, and the disability theology community continues to still find ways to grapple with this paradoxical reality, even as the work of the large communities continue. My parting words for those of you thinking about or doing doctoral studies at the faculty is probably where I will share what I learned. This was one of the most difficult decisions of my life, and I had no idea that the topic of vulnerability and the human condition could be as real to me as they were in my years of doing the doctorate. I struggled with homesickness, isolation, physical sickness, exhaustion. I thought it would never come to an end at one point, and I often forgot what was important during the process. I know now it's not about the study, the results, or the findings. It was about life. Pope Francis said it perfectly a few weeks ago that teaching and studying theology means living on a frontier. I discovered doing the doctorate was about actual life and the relationships formed on the frontier during that process. I am forever grateful for the love of the divine shown to me in my experience of doing the doctorate at the Faculty of Theology at KU Leuven. Part of Leuven's great history is freeing the academic space for individuals like myself to bring our boundary experiences into what we study and to continue the journey begun in Leuven upon our return home. And for that, I am eternally grateful. Thank you so much. Hashtag forever grateful to Leuven.